What's going on, guys? I'm gonna give you guys the top loadouts in Warzone 2 right now, and we're gonna start out with a bonus one that I'm actually not gonna classify as any of the top ones, just one that I know you guys are gonna enjoy, which is the chimera. I know I said chimera earlier. It was basically to troll people so that you guys could comment and correct me, which is kind of funny, but we're going to give you guys this loadout. I'm not tuning it, guys. I'm letting you know right now I'm not tuning it, but I'm giving you guys a good build. This is the Polar Fire S, the 10-inch SA Phoenix, the VLK 4.0 optic, the D37 grip, and the 45 round mag. If you're wondering how I actually have these while these are locked, all you guys have to do is check my newest short on my channel. You can get any weapon attachment unlocked for free without having to unlock it. But to show you guys the 10 SA Phoenix, it increases the damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at a reduction of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. The VLK 4.0, there's no point in changing it, and the 45 is the best choice to overall have. Let's show you guys how cool this is in firing range. We're going to let this actually go through. Alright, so this thing melts super fast. The only downside is long range, but long range is still pretty useful. As you guys see, that was me standing up, now crouched. Pretty decent, has a little bit of kicked. And now just show you guys mounted. Amazing. So it works pretty well. In my opinion, this is actually probably one of the best weapons low-key. So I highly recommend trying it out. And even if you don't want to use the optic, you can take the optic off and probably throw on either the TRX 56 stock or the Ravage 8. Either one are completely fine. You'll do really good using this as an AR/SMG, kind of like the AK-74U. But we're going to move on to the first official weapon for this video, and that is the Fennec 45. Now, the Fennec 45 is amazing. We're going to throw on the ZLR 16.5-inch ignition barrel, increase the damage range by 0.25 inches, and max out the recoil steadiness. The pros are that this increases the damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. We're going to take care of that stuff later on, but I just wanted to let you guys know this is the first thing we're starting out with. We throw on the VLK Laser 7 MW to fix the aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of the laser being visible in ADS. So if you're going to be ADSing this, be careful because they're going to see this laser. Next, we have the Agile Assault 7. Now, I tuned this to max out the aiming out stability, and the weight is decreased by 2.06 ounces for the aim down sight speed. Now, this increases sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control and aiming stability, but that con is not something you're going to notice in the first place. Trust me, we're going to take care of that. I put on the Fennec rubber grip, and I increased the weight by 0.42 ounces for recoil steadiness. This helps with the sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Put on the Fennec 45 round mag, and just show you guys how good this is. We're going right into the gun range. Literally has 0 recoil. And then once we get to long range, this is something you're probably gonna have to burst fire. But like I said, this is basically for the short to mid range. So make sure you're keeping your engagement short to mid range, and try not to get in these long range engagements. Try not to get into these long-range engagements just because you'll most likely lose this fight. Next, we're moving on to the RPK, and this thing is so good. We put on the Polar Fire S and increase the weight by 0.32 ounces, increase the length by 0.32 inches. This increases the bullet velocity and recoil smoothness. Now the pros are sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and aiming stability, but that's not something you're going to notice. No barrel, just because I realized that not many of these are really useful, considering this actually reduces the recoil control, and you don't really need more damage range and bullet velocity. It already is pretty good with that. Put on the Schleger Peck box to increase the aim down sight speed, which is actually pretty useful. I mean, if you don't want to use that, you can use the Choreo Las, but it's completely up to you. I mean, if you do, you're going to have better aiming stability and aim down sight speed, but your laser is going to be visible in ADS, so if that's a risk you're willing to take, feel free to use it. VLK 4.0 optic, there's no reason to tune it. Like, I don't think the close or far even does anything, so don't really worry about that. Put on a Demo X2 grip, and then I increased the weight by 0.74 ounces for the recoil steadiness, increase the recoil control, and it decreases the aiming stability. But don't worry too much about that. We threw on the 7.62 high velocity, maxed out the bullet velocity, and increased the damage range by 0.33 Gs. And once we take it to the firing range, I'm going to show you guys just how good this is. This is me standing up, so this isn't me really changing anything. This isn't me crouching. This isn't me mounting. Now with me crouching, It looks like it does bounce a little bit, so I'm warning you guys, just be prepared for the little bit of bounce at long range. But if you do have that recoil control, you should be good to go. And just so you guys mounted, it's absolutely amazing. So my bet is if you're able to mount on something, please do. Otherwise, you're going to have to be pretty solid with the recoil control at long range, as you guys say. Next, we're moving on to the TAQ-V, and this gun is so amazing. I used the Custovia DX90, tuned it to almost max out the bullet velocity, but at 0.84 inches, that's when it kind of doesn't change anymore. And I increased the recoil smoothness by 0.90 ounces. This helps with the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil smoothness, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, and aiming stability. Now, I put on the 18-inch precision 6-barrel and maxed out the damage range and recoil steadiness by 0.39 pounds. That doesn't max out the recoil steadiness, but that's as far as it'll go before it doesn't have any more benefits. Throw in the F-TAQ Gripper 56, increase the aiming idle stability by 0.23 inches, and then the recoil stabilization by 0.80 ounces. Put on the 50-round drum. If you want to use a 30, you can, but your bullet's going to run out faster, obviously. The good side is you'll actually be able to have better ADS movement and sprint to fire. Also reload, obviously. FSS combat grip increases the aiming idle stability of 0.35 inches and the recoil steadiness by 0.65 ounces. This helps with the recoil control at the cost of aiming stability, but that doesn't really matter. And just to show you guys how amazing this is actually better than the optic version, just letting you guys know ahead of time. The iron sights I think are much better than the like the 4x optic. That's one thing that I actually do use. And just to stand up the entire time, it's actually insane how fast this kills when you get one headshot, and it has very little recoil. So if I'm crouching, it's still incredible. And then obviously if I mount this thing, this is going to be a tank, so we're going to mount. It basically feels like one bullet. It's not, but it feels like one bullet. So it's a fantastic weapon to have. It's actually better than the TAQ-56. A sleeper is this Mini-Bak. Now, we use the X10 RR40. We maxed out the bullet velocity and increased the recoil smoothness by 0.45 ounces. The Bak 9 279mm barrel increased the damage range by 0.40 inches. And the aim walking speed by 0.50 pounds. Well, yeah, by negative 0.50 pounds. Put on the Schlager Peck box for the aim down sight speed. The Marquee R7 stock. Max out the aiming out stability, and then decrease the weight by 1.94 ounces for the aim down sight speed. This helps with the couch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control, but this has fantastic recoil control as it is. Put on the True Tack grip. This increases the recoil steadiness by 0.52 ounces. This helps with sprint fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. And just to show you guys, this is a 64 bullet machine. It's basically like the Bullfrog from Warzone. It has pretty good TTK. The only downside is the long range. But I mean, if you're able to control it, then fantastic. You're going to do a good job with it. I'm just letting you guys know right now, this is basically good for the amount of bullets that it actually has. Don't accidentally set it to a single fire. You'll end up dying. This is the version of the TAQ-V with the optics. So I'm not going to go through everything, but just show you guys how good it is. There's the class setup, and I mean, it kills pretty fast. The only downside is it does pick quite a bit. So if you want to use this, feel free to use it. And last but not least, this no recoil build is fantastic. It's not the strongest, but it has a very fast fire rate and no recoil. So we put on the Harbinger D20, max out the bullet velocity, increase the recoil smoothness by 0.99 ounces. Put on the 15.9 Lockman Rat Barrel, max out the damage range, and increase the recoil steadiness by 0.31 pounds. Put on the Brune Warrior Grip. I did not change anything with this. Put on the 5.56 high velocity, max out the bullet velocity and damage range, and put on a 40-round mag. And just show you guys how good this is. I'm not even crouching. This thing is so good. Very little effort. I literally didn't even move down on my thumbstick. So for anybody that's not really good with controlling recoil, if they want a very easy gun to use, this is a very easy gun you can just throw on right now, use, and go crazy with.